Okay, so low entropy, going to share a little bit about who we are, what we're doing, and a look at how it is that we are approaching this kind of big thing of changing the world. That's what we want to do ultimately, is we want to change the world. But first, before I dive into it and share with you how we're planning on doing that, what is the world that we're trying to change? Like, what is the state of the world that we live in right now? So let's take a look at what that looks like. Here we are. This is our reality. It turns out that we are very selfish. You know, we are a very self-centered bunch of people that tend to have this tendency to think about ourselves and put ourselves at the forefront of everything. You know, oftentimes we're always thinking, what's in it for me? We fight, we argue, and we don't know, we haven't learned yet how to respect each other's differences. We're always thinking about, how can I get more of what I want, more of what I need? We consume as much as we can. We take more than we need, and we do so at the expense of others by stepping on the little guy to get ahead. We often think that if it's in my benefit, well, who really cares about anyone else? It's kind of like every man for himself, the survival of the fittest. And we realize that this mentality is not working. So instead, we recognize that we have to change our ways, and we have to learn to come from a place of love rather than a place of fear. We need to learn how to work together, because what we're doing right now is not working. So we need to change how we relate to one another, and instead of fighting, we have to learn how to cooperate, how to help each other, support one another, and recognize that we are all on the same team here. So this is our vision with low entropy. We're one global family that encourages one another and cares about each other. A world where we lift each other up and we focus on our similarities and we connect through our shared humanity. Because now more than ever, we're beginning to recognize the importance of teamwork, collaboration, and community. I mean, sure, there's a lot of dysfunction in our world today, but there are many situations where this pandemic is actually bringing out the best in us. We're showing more gratitude by recognizing each other in the community, recognizing our frontline workers. We're learning how to appreciate one another, how to give to each other. We're experiencing many acts of kindness and generosity. You know, many of us are actually going out of our way to lend a helping hand. And we're being creative. We're thinking outside of the box. We're recognizing that we are all in this together. We're learning how to reach out to our loved ones. We're spending more time with our family, improving our relationships. Many of us are learning how to be more compassionate and empathetic towards one another. Now, this is the beauty that's coming from this pandemic and coming from the situation we find ourselves in. And also, to be a realist, we do experience dysfunction at the same time. There's the duality, right? Now, there is still that negativity that exists in our world, because some of us don't have family or friends. You know, there's a lot of us that actually feel very isolated, disconnected, and alone in the world. Many of us feel far removed, and I personally can relate to this, because when I grew up, my whole life, I felt like I didn't fit in, like I didn't belong. So I'm going to share a little bit about my journey and why I'm so passionate about doing this kind of work. Because when I was growing up, I had these I had a lot of insecurity, and rather than facing that insecurity, I tried to run away from it and drown it out. So I ended up moving around a lot. I got, kicked out, put into foster care. And by the time I was 16, I made a lot of very bad choices. Because the reason I made these bad choices wasn't because I was a product of my environment. It was because I had a lot of fear. A fear of inadequacy, a fear of insecurity, like not feeling like I was enough. I never felt good enough. And so these insecurities, they led me down a very dark road. I developed a drug addiction and was addicted to crystal meth. I then became homeless. I was in and out of abusive relationships. And I ended up overcoming these situations and these challenges. And I found ways that worked for me to get myself out of that. And because I did that, it's what motivates me now to go out there and share with others that, if I can do it, you can do it too. But I recognize that my story, it's not a unique story, because everyone's got a story, right? We all have stories. We've all been through some shit. And whether the theme is addiction, abuse, poverty, war, injustice, there's always an underlying cause. There's a root problem. There's a root problem that creates all the dysfunction that we experience. And this is what we're going to address. What is the root cause behind all the chaos in our world today? And how do we pull out that fundamental problem by the root and solve our world issues once and for all? Because once we can change the root cause, our world will reflect that change. So the root cause that creates all this dysfunction, just to name a few things, right? What do you think that is? Why do we have all these issues in our world today? Well, the way we see it is the root cause is us. We are the root cause, humanity. What we see in the world today is simply a reflection of us, we the people. It's human behavior. Human behavior is creating the reality that we experience today. You know, when we talk about a new approach to changing the world, we're not talking about offering a Band-Aid solution. We're talking about getting to the core of it. I mean, Band-Aid solutions can be helpful, right? We need to stop the bleeding by offering a strategy to help with these symptoms. And the thing is, with Band-Aids, they're helpful, but they're temporary. You know, eventually they fall off. So with low entropy, we're addressing we the people because we know that we are the cause behind the chaos. So how do we change us, right? How do we change our human behavior? Well, we know what we can't do. We can't force people to change. I can't go out and make anybody change. I definitely can't do that with my kids. Try as hard as I can't. You know, if you think about it, how hard is it to change yourself, right? Like some of the habits that we have, it's difficult to change. So it's not even worth it to try to change anybody else. But what we can change, the things that we can focus on, is changing ourselves. We can do that. It's difficult, but if we put in the effort and we have the commitment and the intention, it's the one thing that I can change. I can change myself. We all have the ability to change ourselves, right? To clean out our minds, replace the fear and negativity with a more positive attitude. So this is the new approach to changing our world. Our new approach is each one of us taking responsibility to be the best version of ourselves. This is what we do. We do this in different support groups, so Conscious Connections. We do this, well, we were doing it all around the Lower Mainland, creating a safe space for people to change themselves. Now that we are moving online, we're able to reach more people and create that safe space online. And the thing is, we can do it while we're all in our homes. So it's even easier for us to initiate that change because you don't have to take such a big leap to get out of your comfort zone to show up at one of these places, right? Like for some people, that's really intimidating to go into a room full of people they don't know. But now we can just turn on our cameras, turn on our computers and connect this way to people from all around the world. So through leadership, teaching, service, and love, we help people to be the change they wish to see in the world. And we do this through our various sharing circles, all of them offered free of charge. We remove the economic barrier and we open up our services so that everyone can come. And we encourage inclusivity and of course, welcome diversity. This is what Low Entropy does. So the two main programs that we have are Conscious Connections and our Youth Empowering Youth. We recognize that now, more than ever, we need to create a paradigm shift. And that's why we have these sharing circles and helping our youth as well. Because if we want to leave something behind, then we need to help the next generation. So if anybody's interested in the youth program, you can always reach out to us to learn more about that too. A lot of organizations and a lot of people talk about changing the world, but many of them are missing something. Change starts from within. And at Low Entropy, we see personal growth as a vehicle for global change. Just imagine what our world will look like when we all take responsibility for how we feel, how we think, and how we show up in the world. When each one of us learns how to let go of fear and come from love. And this is one of my favorite sayings and some of my signatures. Imagine what 7 billion humans could accomplish if we all loved and respected each other. Imagine our world if we treated each other that way. It would be a beautiful place to live when we learn how to work together instead of against each other. Our world will drastically improve. We'll start building each other up and taking care of one another, and we'll inspire our future generation to do the same. Because children don't learn from what we tell them, they learn through our example. So this is our new approach to changing the world. By changing ourselves, we change the world.